Hi, I'm so glad to be back after a very long time. It's almost 9 months and this is by design. When I released last two videos about social media addiction, first one was it real or a hype and what actually happens? Before I was about to release the third video, I wasn't convinced myself that I have the best ever technique with me. And trust me, I said, you know what? I need to talk to those people and I don't want to give you some superficial suggestions of this is what you need to do, go back on dopamine fast, very superficial. I said, let me do some research. It took almost 9 months. I completely logged off the social media. And I'm super proud to tell you that my timings on social media has come down almost by 98%. I haven't logged into my Instagram, Facebook for over 4 months now. That means the technique that I learned and I will be sharing with you are definitely going to work. And during this time, I met a lot of people. I met those who have completely said no to social media. I studied their patterns. I worked with those who are struggling to give up, but they were not able to. I also did some work with a lot of people who have not been able to give up. So I was studying the patterns, and this video is all about decoding all the secrets and getting to you the very best in the world. I did a lot of research on journals, listened to a lot of videos. It's been a wonderful 9 months for me. I know a lot of people whom I have not responded on WhatsApp and telephone calls are extremely angry with me, but I'm okay with it because I truly wanted to test whether the techniques that I will be sharing with you, do they really work? I'm super glad, super excited to share this with you. And by the way, this series is again divided into 3 specific videos. One is all about how do you know you're addicted and how do you actually measure the level of addiction. And that's the first video that we will be doing now. And the second one, how does your brain play game with you? How does it trick you so that you are again drawn back to addiction, and what should you do? And the third video is all about those techniques that will absolutely transform your life, because you will gain a total control over the social media. And it's not that you're going to give up, it's just that you are in control. That's what we will do. 3 series video. Don't worry, this time I'm going to be releasing them very fast, and I hope that this will truly help you. In my previous 2 videos, we spoke about the effects, what is social media and its ill effects. But this video is all about how do you know if you're truly addicted. I was listening to a professor from NIMHANS and he shared a beautiful framework to measure the level of addiction, and we call it 5C. I did a lot of research with other people and also online. Trust me, this really can help us identify the level of addiction we have. So the first C is for craving. What is the level of craving do you experience on a daily basis? This would directly translate into the number of hours you spend on the mobile or on any screen and the number of pickups. So if it is about 1 hour or less than 1 hour, you really have a great control. And if your pickups is less than 60, that means on an average you do about 3 to 4 times an hour. That's perfectly okay. And this is literally to tell you that you are under control. This is like, wow, I mean, you know what? I'm happy about it. So how do we design this? We design in the form of scaling. 0 means absolute control. 10 means no control whatsoever. It is like a percentage. You can say I am 80% addicted, or I'm 60% addicted, or 50% addicted. That's how we will measure our addiction levels. The second criteria is if it is between 1 to 4 hours and your pickups is on an average between 100 to 250, you are moderately addicted. If it is more than 4 hours per day, trust me, you are not only emotionally addicted, you are physiologically addicted. And there is a big difference between mere emotional addiction and also physiological addiction. So we'll talk about that in a while. So obviously the number of pickups will definitely cross 300. So I want you to go back, check. And if you don't know, Neeraj, but I don't know how do I check the screen time, there are apps already present in your mobile. Otherwise, you can always go back to a third-party app in terms of installing it. You can measure the amount of time you spend on the screen. So the first criteria is craving. The second C is called control. How much control do you have over yourself when it comes to saying no to mobile? And this is exactly what we experience before we go to sleep, especially if you're watching a screen or a reel or a movie or whatever it is. You know you're supposed to sleep at 10:30 or 11 o'clock. It's already 11 o'clock. You want to stop, but somehow we are addicted. We say, you know what, let's see one more reel, and it goes on for the next 20 minutes, 15 minutes or half an hour or whatever it is, and you're not able to control till the voice inside us screams saying, stop it, right? How often do you do this? If you experience it, no Neeraj, I am able to control, there is no problem. Whenever I decide, it's 11 o'clock, I need to shut off, I just switch off and go to sleep. You got a great control. And how often do you do that? So measure yourself from 0 to 10. 10, absolutely no control whatsoever. 0 means you have total control. Third C is about coping. What do I mean by coping? Coping is when you're not feeling well, when you're not happy, when you're distressed, when you're disturbed, when you're bored, you're not in the right frame of mind. Where do you go to get yourself distracted? So if I have to give an example of an alcoholic, whenever a person is unhappy, when he's depressed, or when he goes through a shock, he reaches to an alcohol, or a smoker who reaches to a cigarette for coping. So this is exactly what I mean by coping. So do you use mobile as a coping mechanism? So whenever you are bored, automatically you pick up the phone and start seeing it. You have addiction on mobile because you don't know what to do with the boredom, you don't know what to do with unhappiness, you just go reach. And it is higher, especially when you're angry, when you're upset, you don't know what to do. So you will again go back to mobile and reach out to cope with the challenges, or it's basically a challenge that you are facing. But Neeraj, isn't that normal? Isn't that what we do, especially when we are waiting or when we are bored or whatever? Is there anything wrong? Yes, there is something wrong. There is a difference between getting bored and getting distracted, or getting bored and using that time for a constructive purpose. So I have a friend, whenever he's waiting for something, or whenever he's in a queue, or whenever he's free, he'll always be looking at the screen. And when I went and checked, he's doing some research. He's learning something. He's reading an article. He's doing something that helps him. So in the form of a Kindle or a PDF, or he's watching a research video, and that's perfectly okay. So if you're using mobile for a constructive purpose and you're very fulfilled with it, then it is not a coping mechanism. It is leveraging the most wonderful instrument you've got in your hand. So now do you understand between reaching out to mobile because you are depressed or unhappy, or watching a screen because you want to learn something? So that's the difference. So here we are very specifically asking, if you reach out to mobile because of negative emotion that you are experiencing, that means that's your crutch. You are using that to feel better and you are addicted to it. It's not alcohol, obviously, it's a screen, but the chemical release is exactly the same, dopamine. So measure the level of addiction from 0 to 10. 0, no coping mechanism, Neeraj. I'm very clear in my mind. I know what to do. Whenever I have free time, I use it for a constructive purpose. 10 means absolutely no control. Given a minute, I would rather reach out to a mobile. So where are you on 0 to 10? Please mark your score. The fourth C is called compulsion. This is basically a OCD, or a compulsive behavior. I have seen people who are in a movie watching a mobile. Seriously? You're watching a big screen and you need one more screen before there is a dialogue because you're bored? There are people who pick up their mobile in lectures, and worst of all, they're in a game. They're watching a game, live game, and they look at their mobile. It is just like you don't even know that you're reaching out to a mobile and you just pick up automatically and start surfing. That's the level of addiction. That's called compulsive behavior or compulsion. How often do you do this? You are with your family, you're all having dinner, so everyone is laughing and somebody is looking at a mobile. You go to a dinner with your friends, again you are looking at a mobile. That means you are addicted. It is that simple. So how often do you exhibit this behavior? How often do you feel that you are drawn to watch a mobile, even for a second, even for 2 seconds? And some people actually are in a signal and they take out their mobile and check their phone. Seriously? That means it shows the level of addiction a person has. I want you to give yourself a score from 0 to 10. Where are you? 0 again. I don't do it, Neeraj. I check it whenever I want. I'm in total control, and that's not a behavior that I am addicted to. Congratulations, you have a super control. 0 to 3 or 4. You know the level of percentage we are talking. right? So that's your fourth C. The fifth C is about consequences. You need to pay very close attention to what I'm going to tell you right now. This is where we call the shit hits the fan. What are the consequences do you actually feel when you don't look at a mobile? Do you feel restless? Do you feel unhappy? Do you feel agitated? And the range goes from a very meager restlessness or light discomfort to a compulsive behavior where people throw tantrums. And I am not talking to you with knowledge. We have seen cases where people have literally hung themselves because they were denied mobiles. This is no different than a drug addiction. It is just like a drug addict who is not given a drug. What would he do? He would do anything to get the drug. Similarly, we see this behavior, especially with adolescents and teens, that they are denied a mobile. It's very scary what they have done to themselves. That means you are not only emotionally dependent, you are not only emotionally addicted, you are physiologically addicted. You cannot control that. You need the dopamine rush. It's just like that drug that you need. People behave very, very, very abnormally. I've seen people behaving extremely abnormally when there is no mobile signal, or your charge is about to go down. You feel so restless. So I want you to measure what is the level of addiction, what is the level of consequences do you feel? Is it just emotional consequences, or do you feel the pain, discomfort, some rats in your stomach? What kind of emotions do you feel? What kind of physiological disturbances do you feel in your body? So this is the fifth C to measure the level of consequence that you face in absence of mobile. I've seen some people who don't have mobile, they're chilled. Oh my God, you know what, Neeraj, there are no signals. I'm having a time of my life. They experience true sense of freedom. And some people are neither too addicted, nor they're too obsessed about it. They're like moderate. But some people are super obsessed. Now that you've understood the 5C framework and the level of addiction that you have, if your score is more than 60%, you need help. 40 to 60%, you have an opportunity to become better. If it is less than 40%, congratulations, you are absolutely in control. Maybe that's your own journey. You want to make it 1, 10%, 20%. That's your choice. You know the beauty of this exercise, friends? Because we are going to go on a journey. You're going to go on a journey with me in terms of identifying the level of addiction, identifying a roadmap so that you are able to give up. And when you give up and you say, you know what, Neeraj, I have given up, you must have a score. How do you know you have given up? How do you know the progress you are making as you are progressing? And trust me, there is nothing more beautiful than a quantitative method. I want you to do this probably once in a month. Check how do you feel. Check the progress you are making. Because to solve a problem, the first step towards solving a problem is to identify, accept, and be convinced that you have a problem and we are well in our direction. Let me reiterate you, don't expect miracles overnight. You will not be. And don't criticize yourself, because the great first step you have taken is first of all to measure and be convinced that you're about to change. That itself is an amazing thing to happen in this world where people don't even know that they have a problem. This is a great first step. This is a bigger pandemic than the COVID, friends. I really want to tell you this. So do you know somebody who really needs help, especially the adolescents, the kids, the teens, and some of the people who really need help? Do me a favor. Share this video with them. Trust me, they will thank you. Together we can make a small difference to a society or to people, and they will thank you. So let's create a win-win. The second video is all about how does our brain constantly convince us to ensure that we are stuck to the screen, how it lures us, and what do we do to create that self-awareness that I'm not going to fall into the trap. That video coming up pretty soon. Stick with me.